Greetings, listeners, and brace yourself for the grand adventure you're about to embark on. The first episode of a new horror podcast. Brace yourselves for Restless Reading. Every time I want to get home on time, something comes up. This time it had to be the I-25 being so overcrowded that I have to take an off-road through the weird, creepy woods to try to get home on time. At least I would have if I knew where the hell I was. That's probably Mindy texting me. I should just read what it said. Shit! God! Okay. Shit! I'm alive. I'm upside down. Oh fuck! The car flipped. Car fell. My leg. Shit, my leg's broken. Okay. Leg's broken. Car's upside down. I'm in the middle of the woods. The only way back onto the highway is on the cliff. So that's not an option. Leg's broken. God. Fuck! Okay. Try to find something. What can I do? Communicate. I need to get an ambulance or something. Yeah. Try to get an ambulance. No. Damn it! My phone's dead. Okay. Phone is dead. Then. Fuck. Okay. Maybe I can get out of the car. Maybe. Ugh. Okay. I'm leaving. Leg's broken. Leg's very much so broken. Okay. Where can I go? Rivers. That was it. That's what the guy on the Discovery Channel kept saying, right? Follow rivers. If lost, get back to civilization. Right? You just gotta follow a river downstream. Or was it upstream? Just follow a river. Hope for the best. Okay. Oh, my leg. Please, God, is that does that be a cabin? Maybe, I know that this place is a pretty big forest. Maybe it's a fire watch station. Yeah, it might be far away. Fire watch station. If I can just get there. Help me, please! Somebody! Oh, God. Okay. Help me, please! My leg's broken, please! Lights are on. There's somebody there. There's some. I feel so fucking dizzy. God. God. How? Where am I? Where am I? Hello? Oh God, am I? Hello? Hello? Greetings there. Oh God, who are you? Who are you? You may call me the Tome Keeper. Why am I... Why am I tied to a chair? Well, I had to reset your legs somehow. I'm afraid I'm all out of bandages. Let me out of here! I'm afraid that's not quite how it, works. No. Please, just call for help! Call for help! Afraid there's no means of communication, at least not until the storm passes. Storm. God, it was raining. Who are you anyway? Like I said, I'm the Tome Keeper. Care for a story? I don't want a story. I need help. I need doctors. So ungrateful you are. So very ungrateful. Is that a knife? Now you're paying attention. Please, don't be harsh. I don't have any money on me. You already saw my jacket. It's torn up. Your car crashed. Yes, I'm aware. Silence for a minute. Care for a story? Please, no. I just want to go. Doesn't want to hear a story. What a tragedy. I suppose I could make a story out of you. Okay. Please put down the knife or whatever that is. It's a pen. Traveler, it's nothing more than a pen. Why is it bleeding? I have to get my ink from somewhere out here. Okay. Look, please just let me go. Please.
You will listen to the story.
Okay, please. Okay, just calm down. What's wrong with your eyes? They do that when I get ready to read. At least show your face! No. For now, the eyes are all you're going to get. Look, I'll let you go when the storm passes. Until then, just sit tight. Wait for the story to be read. Okay. Just read your story. Just read whatever it is you're reading. Please. Attaboy. Oh, we shall start with one of the more modern ones I have. It's a tale written by a individual known as Perfect Circle 35. Pen names nowadays are rather bizarre, if I do say so myself. Let's begin, shall we? Mr. Widemouth. During my childhood, my family was like a drop of water in a vast river, never remaining in one location for too long. We settled in Rhode Island when I was 8, and there we remained until I went to college in Colorado. Most of my memories are rooted in Rhode Island, but there are fragments in the attic of my brain which belongs to various homes we had lived in when I was much younger. Most of these memories are unclear and pointless. chasing after another boy in the backyard house in North Carolina, trying to build a raft to float on the creek behind the apartment we rented in Pennsylvania, and so on. But there's one set of memories which remains as clear as glass, as though they were just made yesterday. I often wonder whether these memories are simply lucid dreams produced by the long sickness I experienced that spring. In my heart, I know that they're real. We were living in a house just outside the bustling metropolis of New Vineyard, Maine, population 643. It was a large structure, especially for a family of 3. There were a number of rooms that I didn't see the point in. In some ways it was a waste of space, but it was the only house on the market at the time, at least within an hour's commute to my father's place of work. The day after my 15th birthday, I came down with a fever. Doctor said I had mononucleosis, which meant no rough play and more fever for at least another 3 weeks. It was horrible timing to be bedridden. We were in the process of packing our things to move to Pennsylvania, and most of my things were already packed away in boxes, leaving my room barren. My mother bought me ginger ale and books several times a day, and these served the function of being my primary form of entertainment for the next few weeks. Boredom always loomed just around the corner, waiting to rear its ugly head and compound my misery. I don't exactly recall how I met Mr. Widemouth. I think it was about a week after I was diagnosed with mono. My first memory of the small creature was asking him if he had a name. He told me to call him Mr. Widemouth, because his mouth was large. In fact, everything about him was large in comparison to his body. His head, his eyes, his crooked ears, but his mouth was by far the largest. "You look kind of like a Furby," I said as he flipped through one of my books. Mr. Widemouth stopped and gave me a puzzled look.
"Furby? What's a Furby?"
he asked. I shrugged. "You know, the toy, the little robot with big ears. You can pet and feed them almost like a real pet."
"Oh."
Mr. Widemouth resumed his activity.
"You don't need one of those. They aren't the same as having a real friend."
I remember Mr. Widemouth disappearing every time my mother stopped by to check on me.
"I lay under your bed,"
he later explained.
"I don't want your parents to see me because I'm afraid they won't let us play anymore."
Didn't do much during those first few days. Mr. Widemouth just looked at my books, fascinated by the stories and pictures they contained. Third or fourth morning after I met him, he greeted me with a large smile on his face.
"I have a new game we can play,"
he said.
"We have to wait until after your mother comes to check on you, because she can't see us play. It's a secret game."
After my mother delivered more books and soda at the usual time, Mr. Widemouth slipped out from under the bed and tugged my hand.
"We have to go to the room at the end of this hallway,"
he said. I objected at first, as my parents had forbidden me to leave my bed without their permission, but Mr. Widemouth persisted until I gave in. The room in question had no furniture or wallpaper. Its only distinguishing feature was a window opposite to the doorway. Mr. Widemouth darted across the room and gave the window a firm push, flinging it open. He then beckoned me to look out at the ground below. We were on the second story of the house, but it was on a hill, and from this angle the drop was further down than 2 stories due to the incline.
"I like to play pretend up here," Mr. Widemouth explained. "I pretend that there is a big soft trampoline below this window, and I jump. If you pretend hard enough, you'll bounce back, like a feather. I want you to try."
I was a 5-year-old with a fever, so only a hint of skepticism darted through my thoughts as I looked down and considered the possibility. "It's a long drop," I said.
"But that's all a part of the fun. It wouldn't be fun if it was only a short drop. If it were that way, you might as well just bounce on a real trampoline." I toyed with the idea, picturing myself falling through thin air only to bounce back to the window on something unseen by human eyes. But the realist in me prevailed. Maybe some other time, I said. I don't know if I have enough imagination. I could get hurt. Mr. Widemouth's face contorted into a snarl, but only for a moment. Anger gave way to disappointment. If you say so, he said. He spent the rest of the day under my bed, quiet as a mouse. The following morning, Mr. Widemouth arrived holding a small box. I want to teach you how to juggle, he said. Here are some things you can use to practice before I start giving you lessons. I looked in the box. It was full of knives. My parents will kill me, I shouted, horrified that Mr. Widemouth had brought knives into my room, objects that my parents would never allow me to touch. I'll be spanked and grounded for a year. Mr. Widemouth frowned. It's fun to juggle with these. I want you to try it. He pushed the box away. I can't. I'll get in trouble. Knives aren't safe to just throw in the air. Mr. Widemouth's frown deepened into a scowl. He took the box of knives and slid under my bed, remaining there the rest of the day. I began to wonder how often he was under me. I started having trouble sleeping after that. Mr. Widemouth often woke me up at night, saying he'd put a real trampoline under the window, a big one that I couldn't see in the dark. I always declined and tried to go back to sleep, but Mr. Widemouth persisted. Sometimes he stayed by my side until early in the morning, encouraging me to jump. He wasn't so fun to play with anymore. My mother came to me one morning and told me I had her permission to walk around outside. She thought the fresh air would be good for me, especially after being confined to my room for so long. Ecstatic, I put on my sneakers and trotted out to the back porch, yearning for the feeling of sun in my face. Mr. Widemouth was waiting for me. I have something I want you to see, he said. I must have given him a weird look, because he then said, It's safe, I promise. I followed him to the beginning of a deer trail which ran through the woods behind the house. This is an important path, he explained. I've had a lot of friends about your age. When they were ready, I took them down this path, to a special place. You aren't ready yet, but one day, I hope to take you there. I returned to the house, wondering what kind of place lay beyond that trail. 2 weeks after I met Mr. Widemouth, the last load of our things had been packed into a moving truck. I would be in the cab of that truck, sitting next to my father for the long drive to Pennsylvania. I considered telling Mr. Widemouth that I would be leaving, but even at 5 years old, I was beginning to suspect that perhaps the creature's intentions were not to my benefit, despite what he said otherwise. For this reason, I decided to keep my departure a secret. My father and I were in the truck at 4 a.m. I was hoping to make it to Pennsylvania by lunchtime. With the help of an endless supply of coffee and a six-pack of energy drinks. It seemed more like a man who was about to run a marathon rather than one who was about to spend 2 days sitting still. Early enough for you? He asked. I nodded and placed my head against the window, hoping for some sleep before the sun came up. I felt my father's hand on my shoulder. This is the last move, son. I promise. I know it's hard for you, sick as you've been. Once Daddy gets promoted, we can settle down. We can make friends. I opened my eyes as we backed out of the driveway. I saw Mr. Widemouth's silhouette in my bedroom window. He stood motionless until the truck was about to turn onto the main road. He gave a pitiful little wave goodbye, steak knife in hand. I didn't wave back. Years later, I returned to New Vineyard. The piece of land our house stood upon was empty except for the foundation, as the house burnt down a few years after my family left. Out of curiosity, I followed the deer trail that Mr. Widemouth had shown me. part of me expected him to jump out from behind a tree and scare the living bejesus out of me. But I felt that Mr. Whitemouth was gone, somehow tied to the house that no longer existed. The trail ended at the New Vineyard Memorial Cemetery. I noticed that many of the tombstones belonged to children. Was that not a terrifying tale?
Isn't that a...
Was that not a terrifying tale?
Okay, yeah, it was super scary. Please, please don't hurt me.
Hmm. You're not ready yet.
Not ready for what?
Never mind. We may simply move on to the next one. It's one of my favorites.
Look, Mr. Tomekeeper, I really don't know what you're talking about. He's just...
Next up, I shall be reading The Telltale Heart by the famed horror writer Edgar Allan Poe.
Okay, Telltale Heart. Got it. Got it.
Without further ado, let's begin.
The Telltale Heart. It's true, yes, I have been ill. Very ill, but why do you say that? That I've lost control of my mind? Why do you say that I'm mad? Do you not see that I have full control of my mind? It's not clear that I'm not mad. Indeed, the illness only made my mind, my feelings, my senses stronger, more powerful. My sense of hearing especially became more powerful. I could hear sound I had never heard before. I heard sound from heaven, and I heard sound from hell. Listen, and I will tell. I'll tell you how it happened. You'll see, you'll hear how healthy my mind is. It is impossible to say how the idea first entered my head. There was no reason for what I did. I did not hate the old man. I even loved him. He had never hurt me, nor did I want his money. I think it was his eye. His eye was like the eye of a vulture. The eye of one of those terrible birds that watch and wait while an animal dies, then fall upon the dead body and pull it to pieces to eat. When the old man looked at me with his vulture eye, a cold feeling went up and down my back. Even my blood became cold. And so, I finally decided I had to kill the old man. Close that eye forever. So you think that I'm mad? A madman cannot plan? But you should have seen me. During all of that week, I was friendly to the old man as I could be, and warm, and loving. Every night, about 12 o'clock, I slowly opened the door, and when the door was opened wide enough, I put my hand in, and then my head. In my hand, I held a light covered with a cloth, so that no light showed. I stood there, quietly. Then carefully, I lifted the cloth for a little so that a single, thin, small light fell across that eye. For 7 nights I did this, 7 long nights. Every night at midnight, always, the eye was closed. So it was impossible for me to do the work. For it was not the old man I felt I had to kill. It was the eye, his evil eye. And every morning I went to his room, and with a warm, friendly voice I asked him how he'd slept. I could not guess that every night, at 12, I looked at him as he slept. The 8th night I was more than usually careful. As I opened the door, the hands of a clock moved more quickly than did my hand. Never before had I felt so strongly on my own power. I was now sure of my success. The old man was lying there, not dreaming that I was at his door. Suddenly, he moved in his bed. You may think I became afraid, but no. The darkness in his room was thick and black. I knew he could not see the opening of the door. I continued to push the door slowly, softly. I put my head in. I put my hand with the light. Suddenly, the old man, straight up in bed, cried, "Who's there?" He stood quite still for a whole hour. I didn't move, nor did I hear him again lie down in his bed. I just sat there, listening, and I heard a sound. A a low cry of fear would escape the old man. Now I knew that he knew that I was there. He did not see me there. He could not hear me there. He felt me there. Now he knew the presence was standing there. Slowly, little by little, I lifted the cloth. The small light escaped, under it to fall upon that vulture eye. It was open, wide open. My anger increased as it looked straight at me. I could not see the old man's face, only that eye, that hard blue eye. The blood in my body became like ice. Have I ever told you that my hearing had become unusually strong? I could hear a quick, low, soft sound, like the sound of a clock being heard through a wall. It was the beating of the old man's heart. I tried to stand quietly. The sound grew louder. The old man's fear must have been great indeed. As the sound grew louder, my anger became greater and more painful. There was more than anger. The quiet night, the dark silence of the bedroom, my anger became fear. The heart was beating so loudly that I was sure someone must hear. The time had come. I rushed into the room crying, "Die! Die!" The old man gave a loud cry of fear as I fell upon him and held the bed covers tightly over his head. Still, his heart was beating, but I smiled as I felt that success was near. For many minutes that heart continued to beat, but at last the beating stopped. The old man was dead. I took away the bed covers and felt my ear over his heart. There was no sound. Yes, he was dead. Dead as a stone. His eye would trouble me no more. So I am mad, you say? You should have seen how careful I was. But the body where no one could find it. First I cut off the head, and the arms and the legs. I was careful not to send a single drop of blood fall on the floor. I pulled up 3 boards that formed the floor and put the pieces of the body there. Then I put down the boards again, carefully, so carefully that no human eye could see that they had been moved. As I finished this work, I heard that someone was at the door. It was now 4 o'clock in the morning, but still dark. I had no fear, however. As I went down to open the door, 3 men were at the door, 3 officers of the police. One of the neighbors had heard the old man's cry and had called the police. These 3 had come to ask questions and to search the house. I asked the policeman to come in. The cry, I said, was my own in the dream. The old man, I said, was away. He had gone to visit a friend in the country. I took them through the whole house. I had to search it all. Search well. I led them finally to the old man's bedroom. As if playing a game with them. I asked them to sit down and talk for a while. My easy, quiet manner made the policemen believe my story. So they sat, talking with me in a friendly way. But although I answered them in the same way, I soon wished they would go. My head hurt, and there was this strange sound in my ears. I talked more and faster. The sound became clearer, and they sat and talked. Suddenly, I knew that the sound was not in my ears. It was not just inside my head. At that moment, I must have become quite white. I talked still faster and louder, and the sound became louder. It was a quick, low, soft sound, like the sound of a clock being heard through a wall, a sound I knew well. Louder it became, and louder. Why did the men not go? Louder! Louder! I stood up and walked quickly around the room. I pushed my chair across the floor to make more noise, to cover that terrible sound. I talked even louder, and still the men sat and talked and smiled. Was it possible that they could not hear? No. They heard. I was certain of it. They knew! Now, it was they who were playing a game with me. I was suffering more than I could bear. The smiles and from that sound, louder! Suddenly I could bear it no longer. I pointed at the boards and cried, Yes, I killed him! Pull up the boards and you shall see! I killed him! Why does his heart not stop beating? Why does it not stop?
Terrifying, isn't it, my, well, shall we say captive audience?
Okay, Storm, please, the storm, how long do storms usually last around this area?
Oh, it's spring storms can last for days around here.
Oh, God.
Speaking of, somebody with a broken leg should probably get some rest. Reginald, escort our friend to his, sleeping quarters.
Wait, Reginald? Who's Reginald? Jesus, what is that thing?
Like I said, it's Reginald. Reginald, escort our friend.
Ah! No, please, please. What is he?
Oh, he's just a person. He happens to be the last person to come by before you.
Wait, please. No! No!
And that, my listeners, marks the end of the first episode of Restless Readings. I hope everybody enjoyed. This shall be a usual thing happening every Sunday. And I'll see you again next episode. Have a wonderful week. Good night.